Archaic Torso of Apollo by Rainer Rilke. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. Archaic Torso of Apollo. We cannot fathom his mysterious head. Through the veiled eyes no flickering ray is sent, but from his torso gleaming light is shed, as from a candelabrum inward bent. His glance there grows and lingers. Otherwise, the round breast would not blind you with its grace, nor could the soft curved circle of the thighs still to the arc whence issues a new race, nor could the stark and stunted stone display vibrance beneath the shoulder's heavy bar, nor shine like fur upon a beast of prey, nor break forth from its lines like a great star. There is no spot that does not bind you fast and transport you back to a far past. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
At Carnac by Matthew Arnold. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Far on its rocky knoll descried, St. Michael's Chapel cuts the sky. I climbed. Beneath me bright and wide lay the lone coast of Brittany. Bright in the sunset, weird and still, it lay beside the Atlantic wave, as if the wizard Merlin's will yet charmed it from his forest grave. Behind me on their grassy sweep, bearded with lichen, scrawled and gray, the giant stones of Carnac sleep in the mild evening of the May. No priestly stern procession now streams through their rows of pillars old. No victims bleed, no druids bow. Sheep make the furze-grown aisles their fold. From bush to bush the cuckoo flies. The orchis red gleams everywhere. Gold broom with furs in blossom vies. The bluebell's perfume all the air. And o'er the glistening lonely land rise up all round the Christian spires. The church of Carnac by the strand catches the westering sun's last fires, and there across the watery way see low above the tide at flood the sickle sweep of Quiberon Bay, whose beach once ran with loyal blood, and beyond that the Atlantic wide. All round no soul, no boat, no hail, but on the horizon's verge descried hangs touched with light one snowy sail. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
At Dawn by John G. Neihardt. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. Listen, all the world is still. One bleared hour and night is gone. See yon lonely moon-washed hill lift its head to catch the dawn. In the east the eager light sets the curtained dusk asag, and all the royal robe of night frays cheaply like a rag. Once I felt a lifting joy when I saw the day unfurl, watching, just a laughing boy, for the morning girl. Oft I met her in the dew, face to face, her sapphire eyes burning on me through the blue of the morning skies, and her pure and dazzling breast made with joy my senses swoon, as she burned from crest to crest, upward toward the noon. Now no more I seek her shrine, seek no more her golden hair, sparkling in the morning shine and the purple air. Comes no more the morning girl, glows not now her golden head, when the clouds of dawn unfurl, purple, yellow, red. Now the waning of the night means another day is near, just a haggard splotch of light, a turning of the sphere. Would that in the coming hour I might be that boy who knew fragrant import of the flower, lyric impulse of the dew. End of poem This recording is in the public domain.
The Austral Months by Thomas Henry Kendall. Read for LibriVox.org by Beeswaxcandle. The Austral Months. January. The first fair month, in singing summer's sphere, she glows, the eldest daughter of the year. All light, all warmth, all passion, breaths of myrrh, and subtle hints of roselands come with her. She is the warm, live month of lustre. She makes glad the land and lulls the strong, sad sea. The highest hope comes with her. In her face of pure, clear colour lives exalted grace. Her speech is beauty, and her radiant eyes are eloquent with splendid prophecies. February. The bright-haired, blue-eyed last of summer, lo, her clear song lives in all the winds that blow, the upland torrent and the lowland rill, the stream of valley and the spring of hill, the pools that slumber and the brooks that run, where dense the leaves are, green the light of sun, take all her grace of voice and colour. She, with rich warm vine blood splashed from heel to knee, comes radiant through the yellow woodlands. Far and near her sweet gifts shine like star by star. She is the true Demeter, life of root, glows under her in gardens flushed with fruit. She fills the fields with strength and passion, makes a fire of lustre on the lawn-ringed lakes. Her beauty awes the wild great sea. The height of grey magnificence takes strange delight and softens at her presence, at the dear sweet face whose memory beams through all the year. March. Clear upland voices, full of wind and stream, greet March, the sister of the flying beam and speedy shadow. She, with rainbow crowned, lives in a sphere of songs of mazy sound. The hymn of waters in the gale's high tone, with anthems from the thunder's mountain throne, are with her ever. This, behold, is she who draws its great cry from the strong sad sea. She is the month of majesty. Her force is power that moves along a stately course, within the lines of order, like no wild and lawless strength of winter's fiercest child. About her are the wind-whipped torrents. Far above her gleams and flies the stormy star, and round her, through the highlands and their rocks, rings loud the grand speech from the equinox. April. The darling of Australia's autumn, now, down dewy dells the strong swift torrents flow. This is the month of singing waters. Here a tender radiance fills the southern year. No bitter winter sets on herb and root within these gracious glades of frosty foot. The spears of sleet, the arrows of the hail are here unknown. But down the dark green dale of moss and myrtle and the herby streams this April wanders in a home of dreams. Her flower soft name makes language falter. All her paths are soft and cool, and runnels fall in music round her, and the woodlands sing for evermore with voice of wind and wing, because this is the month of beauty, this the crowning grace of all the grace that is. May. Now sings a cool bland wind where falls and flows the runnel by the grave of last year's rose. Now underneath the strong perennial leaves the first slow voice of wintering torrent grieves. Now in a light like English August's day is seen the fair sweet chastened face of May. She is the daughter of the year who stands with autumn's last rich offerings in her hands. Behind her gleams the ghost of April's noon. Before her is the fair faint dawn of June. She lingers where the dells and dewy leas catch stormy sayings from the bold great seas. Her nightly raiment is the misty fold that zones her round with moonlight-coloured gold, and in the day she sheds from shining wings a tender heat that keeps the life in things. June. Not like that month when in imperial space the high strong sun stares at the white world's face. Not like that haughty daughter of the year who moves a splendour in a splendid sphere, but rather like a nymph of afternoon. With cool, soft sunshine comes Australian June. She is the calm, sweet lady from whose lips no breath of living passion ever slips. The wind that on her virgin forehead blows was born too late to speak of last year's rose. She never saw a blossom, but her eyes of tender beauty see blue, gracious skies. She loves the mosses, and her feet have been in woodlands where the leaves are always green. Her days pass on with sea-songs, and her nights shine full of stars on lands of frosty lights. July. High travelling winds, filled with a strong storm's soul, are here with dark, strange sayings from the pole. Now is the time when every great cave rings with sharp clear echoes caught from mountain springs. This is the season when all torrents run beneath no bright glad beauty of the sun. Here, where the trace of last year's green is lost, are haughty gales and lordships of the frost. Far down, by fields forlorn, forelands bleak, are wings that fly not, birds that never speak. But in the deep hearts of the glens unseen stand grave, mute forests of eternal green. And here the lady, born in wind and rain, comes oft to moan and clap her palms with pain. This is our wild-faced July, in whose breast is never faultless light or perfect rest. August. Across the range, by every scarred black fell, strong winter blows his horn of wild farewell. And in the glens, while yet there moves no wing, a slow, sweet voice is singing of the spring. Yea, where the bright, quick woodland torrents run, a music trembles under rain and sun. The lips that breathe it are the lips of her at whose dear touch the wan world's pulses stir. The nymph who sets the bow of promise high and fills with warm life-light the bleak grey sky. She is the fair-headed August. Ere she leaves, she brings the woodbine blossom round the eaves, and where the bitter barbs of frost have been, she makes a beauty with her gold and green. And, while a sea-song floats from bay and beach, she sheds a mist of blossoms on the peach. October. Where fountains sing and many waters meet, October comes with blossom-trammelled feet. She sheds green glory by the wayside rills, and clothes with grace the haughty featured hills. This is the queen of all the year. She brings the pure chief beauty of our southern springs, fair lady of the yellow hair. Her breath starts flowers to life and shames the storm to death. Through tender nights and days of generous sun, by prospering woods her clear strong torrents run. In far deep forests where all life is mute, on leaf and bough she makes a touching lute. Her life is lovely. Stream and wind and bird have seen her face, her marvellous voice have heard, and in strange tracts of wildwood all day long they tell the story in surpassing song. November. Now beats the first warm pulse of summer. Now there shines great glory on the mountain's brow. The face of heaven in the western sky, when falls the sun, is filled with deity. And while the first light floods the lake in lee, the morning makes a marvel of the sea. The strong leaves sing, and in the deep green zones of rock-bound glens the streams have many tones. And where the evening-coloured waters pass, now glides November down fair falls of grass. She is the wonder with the golden wings, who lays one hand in summer's, one in springs. About her hair a sunset radiance glows, her mouth is sister of the dewy rose, and all the beauty of the pure blue skies has lent its lustre to her soft bright eyes. December. The month whose face is holiness. She brings with her the glory of majestic things. What words of light, what high resplendent phrase have I for all the lustre of her days? She comes, and carries in her shining sphere august traditions of the world's great year. The noble tale which lifts the human race is made a morning of her sacred face. Now in the emerald home of flower and wing, clear summer streams their sweet hosannas sing. The winds are full of anthems, and a lute speaks in the listening hills when night is mute, and through dim tracks where talks the royal tree, there floats a grand hymn from the mighty sea. And where the grey, grave, pondering mountains stand, high music lives, the place is holy land. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Better Part by Matthew Arnold. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Long fed on boundless hopes, O race of man, how angrily thou spurnest all simpler fare. Christ, someone says, was human as we are. No judge eyes us from heaven, our sin to scan. We live no more when we have done our span. Well then, for Christ thou answerest, who can care? From sin which heaven records not, why forbear? Live we like brutes our life without a plan. So answerest thou, but why not rather say, hath man no second life? Pitch this one high. Sits there no judge in heaven, our sin to see? More strictly then the inward judge obey. Was Christ a man like us? Ah, let us try if we then too can be such men as he. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Birds in May by William Brown. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. Birds in May by William Brown. As wooed by May's delights, I have been born to take the kind air of a wistful morn, near Tavy's voiceful stream, to whom I owe more strains than from my pipe can ever flow. Here have I heard a sweet bird never lin to chide the river for his clamorous din. There seemed another in its song to tell that what the fair stream did he liked well, and going further heard another too, all varying still in what the others do. A little thence, a fourth with little pain, conned all their lessons, and them sung again. So numberless the songsters are that sing in the sweet groves of the too careless spring, that I no sooner could the hearing lose of one of them, but straight another rose, and perching deftly on a quaking spray, nigh tired herself to make her hearer stay, shrill as a thrush upon a morn of May. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Birthday by Christina G. Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. My heart is like a singing bird whose nest is in a watered shoot. My heart is like an apple tree whose boughs are bent with thick-set fruit. My heart is like a rainbow shell that paddles in the halcyon sea. My heart is gladder than all these, because my love is come to me. Raise me a days of silken down, hang it with vair and purple dyes, carve it in doves and pomegranates and peacocks with 100 eyes. Work it in gold and silver grapes in leaves and silver fleur-de-lis, because the birthday of my life is come. My love is come to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Blue Jay by D.H. Lawrence. Read for LibriVox.org by Brian Gallegos, Taco Brian. The blue jay, with a crest on his head, comes round the cabin in the snow. He runs in the snow like a bit of blue metal, turning his back on everything. From the pine tree that towers and hisses like a pillar of shaggy cloud, immense above the cabin, comes a strident laugh as we approach, this little black dog and I. So halts the little black bitch on four spread paws in the snow, and looks up inquiringly into the pillar of cloud with a tinge of misgiving. "Caw!" comes the scrape of ridicule out of the tree. "What voice of the Lord is that from the tree of smoke?" "Oh, Bibbles, little black bitch in the snow, with a pinch of snow in the groove of your silly snub nose. What do you look at me for? What do you look at me for with such misgiving? It's the blue jay laughing at us. It's the blue jay jeering at us, Bibbs. Every day since the snow is here, the blue jay paces round the cabin, very busy, picking up bits, turning his back on us all, and bobbing his thick dark crest about the snow, as if darkly saying, "I ignore those folk who look out." You acid blue metallic bird, you thick bird with a strong crest, who are you? Whose boss are you, with all your bully way? You copper sulfate bluebird. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Bravery by Clara A. Merrill. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. A youth once went to a party whose sweetheart was there with the rest. The moments that flew on swift pinions were enjoyed with great fervor and zest, till at length came the time for dispersing, when each went their various ways, this fond youth escorting his sweetheart, his heart with emotion ablaze. On his sleeve her hand trustingly rested, as they wended their way through the wood, when lo! a white spectre before them appeared. In their pathway it stood, like a goblin, with long arms extended, it swayed, while a wild weird note, like the wail of a despairing spirit, came issuing from the ghost's throat. 'Twas too much for our hero, and turning, he ran in the wildest alarm, and left his companion in terror. But a word from Sir Ghost made her calm. The echoing footsteps grew fainter, till at last in the distance they fade. The rival then threw off the mystic, and boldly walked home with the maid. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said, into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade! Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell rode the 600. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabring the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the sabre stroke. Shattered and sundered, then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon behind them volleyed and thundered. Stormed at with shot and shell while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell, all that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made, all the world wondered. Honour the charge they made, honour the Light Brigade, noble 600. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cheerfulness Taught by Reason by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by PaulClayton. I think we are too ready with complaint. In this fair world of gods, had we no hope indeed beyond the zenith and the slope of yon grey blank of sky, we might be faint to muse upon eternity's constraint round our aspirant souls. But since the scope must widen early, is it well to droop for a few days consumed in loss and taint? O pusillanimous heart, be comforted, and like a cheerful traveller take the road, singing beside the hedge. What if the bread be bitter in thine inn, and thou unshod to meet the flints? At least it may be said, because the way is short, I thank thee, God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Constance by Robert Underwood Johnson. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. First time we met I saw her not. 'Twas night, but fancy read her lovely spirit right. Soft as the dark her voice that made my lonely heart rejoice. When next we met, or ere I heard her speak, my fancy fared afar her like to seek. Where had I seen that face? In Reynolds or in Romney's grace? And when she spoke, most like a morning child waking to wonder how her spirit smiled. Then voice and face were one, music and art in unison. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Delilah by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Theo Douglas. Seattle, Washington, May 2025. In the midnight of darkness and terror, when I would grope nearer to God, with my back to a record of error and the highway of sin I have trod, there come to me shapes I would banish, the shapes of the deeds I have done, and I pray and I plead till they vanish, all vanish, and leave me, save one, that one with a smile like the splendor of the sun in the middle day skies, that one with a spell that is tender, that one with a dream in her eyes, cometh close in her rare southern beauty, her languor, her indolent grace, and my soul turns its back on its duty to live in the light of her face. She touches my cheek, and I quiver. I tremble with exquisite pains. She sighs like an overcharged river. My blood rushes on through my veins. She smiles, and in mad tiger fashion, as a she-tiger fondles her own, I clasp her with fierceness and passion, and kiss her with shudder and groan. Once more, in our love's sweet beginning, I put away God and the world. Once more, in the joys of our sinning, are the hopes of eternity hurled. There is nothing my soul lacks or misses, as I clasp the dream shape to my breast. In the passion and pain of her kisses, life blooms to its richest and best. O ghost of dead sin, unrelenting, go back to the dust and the sod. Too dear and too sweet for repenting, ye stand between me and my God. If I, by the throne, should behold you, smiling up with those eyes loved so well, close, close in my arms I would fold you, and drop with you down to sweet hell. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Dream by Edgar Allan Poe, read for LibriVox.org by Arnav Darnal. In visions of the dark night I have dreamed of joy departed, but a waking dream of life and light hath left me broken-hearted. Ah, what is not a dream by day to him whose eyes are cast on things around him with a ray turned back upon the past? That holy dream, while all the world were chiding, hath cheered me as a lovely beam, a lonely spirit guiding. What though that light, through storm and night, so trembled from afar? What could there be more purely bright in truth's day star? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Estranged by Walter de la Mare, read for LibriVox.org by Arnav Darnal. No one was with me there. Happy I was, alone. Yet, from the sunshine suddenly, a joy was gone. A bird in an empty house, sad echoes makes the ring, flitting from room to room on restless wing, till from its shades he flies, and leaves forlorn and dim the narrow solitudes so strange to him. So, when with fickle heart I joyed in the passing day, a presence my mood estranged went grieved away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fiddler Jones by Edgar Lee Masters, read for LibriVox.org by Tom Merritt. The earth keeps some vibration going there in your heart, and that is you. And if the people find you can fiddle, why, fiddle you must for all your life. What do you see? A harvest of clover, or a meadow to walk through to the river? The winds in the corn, you rub your hands for beeves hereafter ready for market, or else you hear the rustle of skirts like the girls when dancing at Little Grove. To Coney Potter, a pillar of dust or whirling leaves meant ruinous drought. They looked to me like Redhead Sammy stepping it off to Tourlure. How could I till my 40 acres, not to speak of getting more, with a medley of horns, bassoons, and piccolos stirred in my brain by crows and robins, and the creak of a windmill? Only these? And I never started to plow in my life that someone did not stop in the road and take me away to a dance or a picnic. I ended up with 40 acres. I ended up with a broken fiddle, and a broken laugh, and 1,000 memories, and not a single regret. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Heaven and Hell by Francis Thompson. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. 'Tis said there were no thought of hell, save hell were taught, that there should be a heaven for all's self-credible. Not so the thing appears to me. 'Tis heaven that lies beyond our sights, and hell too possible that proves. For all can feel the God that smites, but ah, how few the God that loves. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes. Read for LibriVox.org by Tom Merritt. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. He had a French cocked hat on his forehead, a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of the claret velvet, and breeches of brown doeskin. They fitted with never a wrinkle. His boots were up to the thigh, and he rode with a jeweled twinkle, his pistol butts a twinkle, his rapier hilt a twinkle, under the jeweled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn-yard, and he tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love-knot into her long black hair. And dark in the dark old inn-yard a stable wicket creaked, where Tim, the ostler, listened. His face was white and peaked. His eyes were hollows of madness, his hair like mouldy hay. But he loved the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lipped daughter. Dumb as a dog he listened, and he heard the robber say, "One kiss, my bonny sweetheart. I'm after a prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." He rose upright in the stirrups. He scarce could reach her hand, but she loosened her hair in the casement. His face burnt like a brand as the black cascade of perfume came tumbling over his breast, and he kissed its waves in the moonlight. Oh, sweet black waves in the moonlight. Then he tugged at his rein in the moonlight and galloped away to the west. He did not come in the dawning. He did not come at noon. And out of the tawny sunset, before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon looping the purple moor, a red-coat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door. They said no word to the landlord. They drank his ale instead, but they gagged his daughter and bound her to the foot of her narrow bed. Two of them knelt at her casement, with muskets at their side. There was death at every window, and hell at one dark window. For Bess could see, through her casement, the road that he would ride. They had tied her up to attention with many a sniggering jest. They had bound a musket beside her, with the barrel beneath her breast. Now keep good watch. And they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, Look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. She twisted her hands behind her, but all the knots held good. She writhed her hands till her fingers were wet with sweat or blood. They stretched and strained in the darkness, and the hours crawled by like years. Till now, on the stroke of midnight, cold on the stroke of midnight, the tip of one finger touched it. The trigger, at least, was hers. The tip of one finger touched it. She strove no more for the rest. Up, she stood up to attention, with the barrel beneath her breast. She would not risk their hearing. She would not strive again, for the road lay bare in the moonlight, blank and bare in the moonlight, and the blood of her veins in the moonlight throbbed to her love's refrain. Tlot, 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 tlot. Had they heard it? The horse hoofs ringing clear? Tlot, 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 tlot. In the distance? Were they deaf that they did not hear? Down the ribbon of moonlight, over the brow of the hill, the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats looked to their priming. She stood up straight and still. Tlot, 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 in the frosty silence. Tlot, tlot, in the echoing night. Nearer he came, and nearer. Her face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide for a moment. She drew one last deep breath. Then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, shadowed her breasts in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. He turned. He spurred to the west. He did not know who stood bowed with her head o'er the musket, drenched in her own red blood. Not till the dawn he heard it. His face grew grey to hear how Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight and died in the darkness there. Back he spurred like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky, with the white road smoking behind him and his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs in the golden noon. Wine red was his velvet coat. When they shot him down on the highway, down like a dog on the highway, and he lay in his blood on the highway, with a bunch of lace at his throat. And still of winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, a highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. A highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clatters and clangs in the dark inn yard. He taps with his whip on the shutters, but all is locked and barred. He whistles a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
How Did You Die? By Edmund Vance Cook. Read for LibriVox.org by Brian Gallegos, Taco Brian. Did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful? Or hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Oh, a trouble's a ton, and a trouble's an ounce, and a trouble is what you make it. And it isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it? You are beaten to earth? Well, what's that? Come up with a smiling face. It's nothing against you to fall down flat, but to lie there, that's disgrace. The harder you're thrown, why the higher you bounce. Be proud of your blackened eye. It isn't the fact that you're licked that counts. It's how did you fight, and why? And though you be done to the death, what then? If you battled the best you could, if you played your part in the world of men, why, the critic will call it good. Death comes with a crawl, or comes with a pounce, and whether he's slow or spry, it isn't the fact that you're dead that counts, but only how did you die? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lady Clare by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Read for LibriVox.org by edenwillow. It was the time when lilies blow and clouds are highest up in air. Lord Ronald brought a lily-white doe to give his cousin Lady Clare. I trow they did not part in scorn, lovers long betrothed were they. They too will wed the morrow morn, God's blessing on the day. He does not love me for my birth, nor for my land so broad and fair. He loves me for my own true worth, and that is well, said Lady Clare. In there came old Alice the nurse, said, Who was this that went from thee? It was my cousin, said Lady Clare, to-morrow he weds with me. Oh, God be thanked, said Alice the nurse, that all comes round so just and fair. Lord Ronald is heir of all your lands, and you are not the Lady Clare. Are ye out of your mind, my nurse, said Lady Clare, that you speak so wild? As God's above, said Alice the nurse, I speak the truth, you are my child. The old earl's daughter died at my breast. I speak the truth, as I live by bread. I buried her like my own sweet child, and put my child in her stead. Falsely, falsely have you done, O mother, she said, if this be true, to keep the best man under the sun so many years from his due. Nay now, my child, said Alice the nurse, but keep the secret for your life, and all you have will be Lord Ronald's when you are man and wife. If I'm a beggar born, she said, I will speak out, for I dare not lie. Pull off the brooch of gold, and fling the diamond necklace by. Nay now, my child, said Alice the nurse, but keep the secret all you can. She said, Not so, but I will know, if there be any faith in man. Nay now, what faith, said Alice the nurse, the man will cleave unto his right. And he shall have it, the lady replied, though I should die to-night. Yet give one kiss to your mother dear. Alas, my child, I sinned for thee. "Oh, mother, mother, mother," she said, "so strange it seems to me. Yet here's a kiss for my mother dear, if this be so, and lay your hand upon my head, and bless me, mother, ere I go." She clad herself in a russet gown, she was no longer Lady Clare. She went by dale, and she went by down, with a single rose in her hair. The lily-white doe Lord Ronald had brought leapt up from where she lay, dropped her head in the maiden's hand, and followed her all the way. Down stepped Lord Ronald from his tower. "Oh, Lady Clare, you shame your worth! Why come you dressed like a village May, that are the flower of the earth?" "If I come dressed like a village maid, I am but as my fortunes are. I am a beggar born," she said, "and not the Lady Clare." "Play me no tricks," said Lord Ronald, "for I am yours in word and deed." "Play me no tricks," said Lord Ronald, "your riddle is hard to read." Oh, and proudly stood she up, her heart within her did not fail. She looked into Lord Ronald's eyes, and told him all her nurse's tale. He laughed a laugh of merry scorn, he turned and kissed her where she stood. "If you are not the heiress born, and I," said he, "the next in blood, "if you are not the heiress born, and I," said he, "the lawful heir, we two will wed to-morrow morn, and you shall still be Lady Clare." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Le Jardin by Oscar Wilde, read for LibriVox.org by Arnav Darnal. The lily's withered chalice falls around its rod of dusty gold, and from the beech trees on the wold the last wood pigeon coos and calls. The gaudy leonine sunflower hangs black and barren on its stalk, and down the windy garden walk the dead leaves scatter, hour by hour. Pale privet petals, white as milk, are blown into a snowy mass. The roses lie upon the grass like little shreds of crimson silk. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Lily of the Valley by Kate Slaughter McKinney. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. Just a breath of fragrance on the breeze, alas, a lily of the valley dying in the grass. Just a recollection followed with a sigh, just a teardrop dripping down the cheek, and why? May 16th, 1887. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. I heard 1,000 blended notes while in a grove I sat reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in that sweet bower the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If these thoughts may not prevent, if such be of my creed the plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Little Hands by Lawrence Binion. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sher. Soft little hands that stray and clutch, like fern fronds, curl and uncurl bold, while baby faces lie in such close sleep as flowers at night that fold. What is it you would clasp and hold, wandering outstretched with wilful touch? O fingers small of shell-tipped rose, how should you know you hold so much? Two full hearts beating you enclose hope, fears, prayers, longings, joys and woes, all yours to hold, O little hands. More than wisdom understands. And love? Love only knows. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love Song by Rainer Rilke. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. Love Song. When my soul touches yours, a great chord sings. How shall I tune it then to other things? Oh, that some spot in darkness could be found that does not vibrate whene'er your depths sound. But everything that touches you and me, whilst us as played strings sound one melody. Where is the instrument whence the sound flowed? And who's the master hand that holds the bow? Oh, sweet song. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
May Day Customs by William Brown. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. May Day Customs by William Brown. I have seen the Lady of the May set in an arbor on a holiday, built by the maypole where the jocund swains dance with the maidens to the bagpipe strains. When the envious knight commands them to be gone, call for the merry youngsters one by one, and for their well performance soon disposes. To this a garland interwoven with roses, to that a carved hook or a well-wrought script, gracing another with her cherry lip. To one her garter, to another then a handkerchief cast over and over again, and none returneth empty that hath spent his pains to fill their rural merriment. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Missing Link by Clara A. Merrill. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. The theory of Darwin with evidence was bound, but when the chain was broken, one link could not be found, connecting man and monkey. Yet modern science shows advancement which may nearly that missing link disclose. The telephonic system has spread near and afar until the Wayback County and town connected are. Thus sturdy country Jamie, with hands and cheeks so brown, and heart so true and loyal, can call up Reg in town. Dude Reggie with the eyeglass and hair in done-up curls, with brain so weak he scarcely can think of aught but girls. As at the phone they linger, the line does then, I think, connect the man and monkey and forms the missing link. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Muscovy Duck by Henry Lawson. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Mae Strub. The rooster is a brainless dude, although he sports a crest. The hen's an awful fool, we know, though hen's eggs are the best. She'll flutter, cackling, anywhere save through a gate or door, and try to catch a doorknob too for 40 days or more. The turkey is of small account, we'll let it go in peace. And other fowls are ornaments, and geese are simply geese. But over all that cackle, hiss or gobble, quack or cluck, my favorite shall always be the quaint Muscovy duck. I'm fond of Miss Muscovy. I think she knows the most of all the different kinds of fowls that poultry breeders boast. She knows best how to build her nest when laying time is past, and you should see the knowing pride with which she sets at last. She waddles out for food and drink, she's not afraid of us, and if we fits her now and then, she doesn't make a fuss. No frantic flaps of useless wings, no cackle, hiss, nor cluck. She's queen of all philosophers, the quaint Muscovy Duck. It's a wondrous thing to see, and a wondrous thing to tell. Her ducklings know as much as ducks the day they leave the shell. That she is proud as proud can be is plain to any dunce. The little ducklings set to work to grow up ducks at once. And on a sunny winter's day, 'tis a good thing for the eyes to see her waddle round and watch her ducklings catching flies. I love her for her waddle, and her patience, and her pluck, her wag of tail and nod of head, the quaint Muscovy Duck. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The New Helen by Oscar Wilde. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Where hast thou been since round the walls of Troy the sons of God fought in that great emprise? Why dost thou walk our common earth again? Hast thou forgotten that impassioned boy, his purple galley and his Tyrian men, and treacherous Aphrodite's mocking eyes? For surely it was thou who, like a star, hung in the silver silence of the night, didst lure the old world's chivalry and might into the clamorous crimson waves of war? Or didst thou rule the fire-laden moon? In amorous Sidon was thy temple built, over the light and laughter of the sea, where, behind lattice scarlet wrought and gilt, some brown-limbed girl did weave the tapestry, all through the waste and wearied hours of noon, till her wan cheek with flame of passion burned, and she rose up the sea-washed lips to kiss of some glad Cyprian sailor, safe returned from Calpe and the cliffs of Heracles. No, thou art Helen, and none other one. It was for thee that young Sarpedon died, and Memnon's manhood was untimely spent. It was for thee gold-crested Hector tried with Thetis' child that evil race to run, in the last year of thy beleaguerment. Aye, even now the glory of thy fame burns in those fields of trampled asphodel, where the high lords, whom Ilion knew so well, clash ghostly shields and call upon thy name. Where hast thou been? In that enchanted land, whose slumbering vales forlorn Calypso knew, where never mower rose at break of day, but all unswathed the trammelling grasses grew, and the sad shepherd saw the tall corn stand, till summer's red had changed to withered grey. Didst thou lie there by some Lethean stream, deep brooding on thine ancient memory, the crash of broken spears, the fiery gleam from shivered helm, the Grecian battle cry? Nay, thou wert hidden in that hollow hill, with one who is forgotten utterly, that discrowned queen men called the Eresine, hidden away that never mightst thou see the face of her before whose mouldering shrine today at Rome the silent nations kneel, who gat from love no joyous gladdening, but only love's intolerable pain, only a sword to pierce her heart in twain, only the bitterness of child-bearing. The lotus leaves which heal the wounds of death lie in thy hand. Oh, be thou kind to me, while yet I know the summer of my days, for hardly can my tremulous lips draw breath to fill the silver trumpet with thy praise, so bowed am I before thy mystery. So bowed and broken on love's terrible wheel, that I have lost all hope and heart to sing, yet care I not what ruin time may bring, if in thy temple thou wilt let me kneel. Alas, alas, thou wilt not tarry here, but like that bird, the servant of the sun, who flies before the north wind and the night, so wilt thou fly our evil land and drear, back to the tower of thine old delight, and the red lips of young Euphorion. Nor shall I ever see thy face again, but in this poisonous garden close must stay, crowning my brows with the thorn crown of pain, till all my loveless life shall pass away. O Helen, Helen, Helen! Yet a while, yet for a little while, O tarry here, till the dawn cometh and the shadows flee. For in the gladsome sunlight of thy smile, of heaven or hell I have no thought or fear, seeing I know no other God but thee. No other God save him before whose feet in nets of gold the tired planets move, the incarnate spirit of spiritual love, who in thy body holds his joyous seat. Thou wert not born as common women are, but girt with silver splendour of the foam, didst from the depths of sapphire seas arise. And at thy coming some immortal star, bearded with flame, blazed in the eastern skies, and waked the shepherds on thine island home. Thou shalt not die. No asps of Egypt creep close at thy heels to taint the delicate air, no sullen blooming poppies stain thy hair, those scarlet heralds of eternal sleep. Lily of love, pure and inviolate, tower of ivory, red rose of fire, thou hast come down our darkness to illume. For we, close caught in the wide nets of fate, wearied with waiting for the world's desire, aimlessly wandered in the house of gloom, aimlessly sought some slumberous anodyne for wasted lives, for lingering wretchedness, till we beheld thy re-arisen shrine and the white glory of thy loveliness. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ocean's Nursling by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Underneath day's azure eyes, ocean's nursling Venice lies, a peopled labyrinth of walls, Amphitrite's destined halls, which her hoary sire now paves with his blue and beaming waves. Lo! The sun upsprings behind, broad red radiant, half reclined, on the level quivering line of the waters crystalline, and before that chasm of light, as within a furnace bright, column, tower, and dome and spire shine like obelisks of fire, pointing with inconstant motion from the altar of dark ocean to the sapphire-tinted skies, as the flames of sacrifice from the marble shrines did rise, as to pierce the dome of gold where Apollo spoke of old. Sun-girt city, thou hast been Ocean's child and then his queen. Now is come a darker day, and thou soon must be his prey, if the power that raised thee here hallow so thy watery bier. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Old Ships by James Elroy Flecker. Read for LibriVox.org by Algie Pug. I've seen old ships sail like swans asleep beyond the village which men still call Tyre, with leaden age or cargoed, dipping deep for Famagusta and the hidden sun that rings black Cyprus with a lake of fire. And all those ships were certainly so old. Who knows how oft, with squat and noisy gun, questing brown slaves or Syrian oranges, the pirate Genoese hell-raked them till they rolled blood, water, fruit, and corpses up the hold. But now through friendly seas they softly run, painted the mid-sea blue or shore sea green, still patterned with the vine and grapes in gold. But I have seen, pointing her shapely shadows from the dawn, an image tumbled on a rose-swept bay, a drowsy ship of some yet older day. And, wonder's breath indrawn, thought I, who knows, but in that same, fished up beyond area, patched up new, stern-painted brighter blue, that talkative, bald-headed seaman came, 12 patient comrades sweating at the oar, from Troy's doom-crimsoned shore, and with great lies about his wooden horse set the crew laughing, and forgot his course. It was so old a ship. Who knows? And yet so beautiful, I watched in vain to see the mast burst open with a rose, and the whole deck put on its leaves again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Owl Critic by James Thomas Fields. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sher. Who stuffed that white owl? No one spoke in the shop. The barber was busy, and he couldn't stop. The customers, waiting their turns, were all reading the Daily, the Herald, the Post, little heeding the young man who blurted out such a blunt question. Not one raised a head or even made a suggestion, and the barber kept on shaving. "Don't you see, Mr. Brown?" cried the youth with a frown. "How wrong the whole thing is, how preposterous each wing is, how flattened the head is, how jammed down the neck is. In short, the whole owl, what an ignorant wreck 'tis. I make no apology, I've learned owliology. I've passed days and nights in 100 collections, and cannot be blinded to any deflections arising from unskilful fingers that fail to stuff a bird right from his beak to his tail. Mr. Brown, do take that bird down, or you'll soon be the laughing stock all over town. And the barber kept on shaving. I've studied owls and other night fowls, and I tell you what I know to be true. An owl cannot roost with his limbs so unloosed. No owl in this world ever had his claws curled, ever had his legs slanted, ever had his bill canted, ever had his neck screwed into that attitude. He can't do it because 'tis against all bird laws. Anatomy teaches, or ornithology preaches, an owl has a toe that can't turn out so. I've made the white owl my study for years, and to see such a job almost moves me to tears. Mr. Brown, I'm amazed you should be so gone crazed as to put up a bird in that posture absurd. To look at that owl really brings on a dizziness. The man who stuffed him don't half know his business. And the barber kept on shaving. Examine those eyes. I'm filled with surprise taxidermists should pass off on you such poor glass. So unnatural they seem they'd make Audubon scream, and John Burroughs laugh to encounter such chaff. Do take that bird down. Have him stuffed again, Brown. And the barber kept on shaving. With some sawdust and bark I could stuff in the dark an owl better than that. I could make an old hat look more like an owl than that horrid fowl, stuck up there so stiff like a side of coarse leather. In fact, about him there's not one natural feather. Just then, with a wink and a sly normal lurch, the owl very gravely got down from his perch, walked round, and regarded his fault-finding critic, who thought he was stuffed, with a glance analytic, and fairly hooted, as if he would say, "Your learning's at fault this time, anyway. Don't waste it again on a live bird, I pray. I'm an owl, you're another, so critic, good day." And the barber kept on shaving. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Panther by Rainer Rilke. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Panther. His weary glance from passing by the bars has grown into a dazed and vacant stare. It seems to him there are 1,000 bars, and out beyond those bars the empty air. The pad of his strong feet, that ceaseless sound of supple tread behind the iron bands, is like a dance of strength circling around, while in the circle, stunned, a great will stands. But there are times the pupils of his eyes dilate, the strong limbs stand alert, apart, tense with the flood of visions that arise, only to sink and die within his heart. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
A Perfect Day by Carrie Jacobs Bond. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. When you come to the end of a perfect day, and you sit alone with your thought while the chimes ring out with a carol gay for the joy that the day has brought, do you think what the end of a perfect day can mean to a tired heart? When the sun goes down with a flaming ray, and the dear friends have to part. Well, this is the end of a perfect day, near the end of a journey, too. But it leaves a thought that is big and strong, with a wish that is kind and true. For memory has painted this perfect day with colors that never fade, and we find at the end of a perfect day the soul of a friend we've made. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Phantom by Crystal Hastings. From Weird Tales, April 1928. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Grothman. The Phantom by Crystal Hastings. Last night the wind blew fitfully against the wet window panes, and tapped a pallid hand in sudden bravery upon my door, seeking admittance with a shrill demand. My candles flickered in the sudden draught, as from the opening of a hidden door, silent upon its hinges, and I felt the cold, wet touch of winds from down the moor. Somewhere a dog howled dismally and long to midnight skies, and branches brushed my roof, like groping fingers seeking entrance where something once lived and held itself aloof. The long night through, dead leaves tapped here and there, seeking for entrance long denied their kin, save in the logs that blazed upon my grate, old driftwood bits the raging tide brought in. It must be these old things from out the brine and kelp of oceans have their bluish souls that wail at night in winds that haunt the marsh, when driftwood logs are burned to dying coals. The end of The Phantom by Crystal Hastings. This recording is in the public domain.
Pinkle Purr by A. Milne. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. Tattoo was the mother of Pinkle Purr, a little black nothing of feet and fur. And by, when his eyes came through, he saw his mother, the big Tattoo. And all that he learned from her. "I'll ask my mother," said Pinkle Purr. Tattoo was the mother of Pinkle Purr, a ridiculous kitten with silky fur. And little black Pinkle grew and grew, till he got as big Tattoo. And all that he did with her. Two friends together, says Pinkle Purr. Tattoo was the mother of Pinkle Purr, an adventurous cat in a coat of fur. And whenever he thought of a thing to do, he didn't much bother about Tattoo, for he knows it's nothing to do with her. So, see you later, says Pinkle Purr. Tattoo is the mother of Pinkle Purr, an enormous leopard with a coal-black fur. A little brown kitten that's nearly new is now playing games with its big Tattoo. And Pink looks lazily down at her. Dear little Tat, says Pinkle Purr. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Premonitions by Robert Underwood Johnson. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. There's a shadow on the grass that was never there before, and the ripples as they pass whisper of an unseen oar, and the song we knew by rote seems to falter in the throat, and a footfall, scarcely noted, lingers near the open door. Omens that were once but jest, now are messengers of fate, and the blessing held the best cometh not or comes too late. Yet whatever life may lack, not a blown leaf beckons back. Forward is the summons, forward where the new horizons wait. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Red, Red Rose by Robert Burns. Read for LibriVox.org by PaulClayton. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, to all the seas gang dry. till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt to the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Remember by Christina G. Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more. Day by day, you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me, you understand. It will be late to counsel then, or pray. Yet, if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve, for if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile, than that you should remember and be sad. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Renewal of Youth by Frederick Myers. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. March 15, 2025. The Renewal of Youth. Argument. The poem opens with a recurrence to previous expressions of unrest and baffled inquiry into the problems of the unseen world. 1-22. It is intimated that the present reflections are made from a point of view which gives their author a subjective satisfaction, though he expressly disclaims the power of conducting other minds to the same point. 23-32. Since, however, many persons have attained, by various pathways, to some form of faith or peace, it is thought that they may be interested in a sketch of some of the feelings to which an assured hope of immortality gives rise. 33-56. One of the simplest of such feelings is the impulse of enterprise and curiosity evoked by the hope of being ultimately able to explore the mysteries of the starry heavens. 57-80. Yet it is plain that such investigations, which may be carried to an inconceivable point even by men still living on our planet, can afford no real insight into a spiritual world. 81-92. The universe, as spiritually conceived, can be apprehended only by the development and elevation of the soul herself. 93-106. Such spiritual apprehension may indeed be plausibly derided as imaginary, and compared to the search for San Barandon, the Procetus, or unapproachable island of Ptolemy, which under certain atmospheric conditions is still apparently visible from the peak of Tenerife, but which consists in reality of a bank of vapor. 107-126. In reply to this, the difficulty of advancing adequate credentials for any announcement of spiritual discovery is fully admitted, but the analogy of the quest of San Barandon is met with the case of Columbus, who, starting himself also from the Canaries on an adventure in which few sympathized, discovered a real country. 127-142. Men, however, who suppose themselves to discern spiritual verities must fully acquiesce in being considered dreamers. 143-158. They do not look, in fact, for popular applause, but draw a peculiar delight from the interpenetration of the common scenes of life by their far-reaching memories, meditations, and hopes. 159-202. Among these meditations, the question of repeated existence on this planet, whether before or after our present life, naturally occurs. 203-214. However this may be, death must be regarded as a deliverance, and life on earth as a tumult of sensations, through which the main current of our spiritual being should run untroubled and strong, like a river through a clamorous city, or like Aeneas marching through the phantoms of the underworld. 215-252. No exemption indeed, can be promised from sorrow, but under the influence of these great hopes, sorrow would be divested of its former bitterness, and felt to be directly educative. 253 to 280. Nor, assuredly, could any conception of a future life be satisfactory which did not involve perpetual effort and consequent advance, an advance whose ultimate goal seems to lie largely in an increased power of spiritually helping other souls. 281 to 296. It need not be presumptuous to aspire to such developments, however remote from man's present insignificance, since the longest periods which astronomy can measure need bring no cessation to the upward efforts of the soul. 297 to 308. In view of such high possibilities, a stern and thorough spiritual training is to be desired. 309 to 318. A frequent experience shows that the stimulating influence of sorrows endured in common, or even of the separation of death, is usually needed to raise human love to the highest development of which earth admits. 319 to 336. In like manner, all surrounding circumstances, of whatever kind, should be used as means of self-improvement. If they be uncongenial, they may be made to give stoical strength. 337 to 344. And, on the other hand, artistic and emotional enjoyment, instead of alluring the soul earthwards, may stimulate her progress by suggesting the loftier delights to which she may in time rise. 345 to 360. Art, indeed, in all its manifestations, seems directly to suggest an ideal world. 361 to 364. This is true of poetry. 365 to 378, and of painting, as Tintoret's Paradise may serve to indicate. 379 to 400. With music this is markedly the case, for although, as in operas of Mozart's, music gives full voice to human love, she also, especially in the hands of Beethoven, creates the impression that she is perpetually overpassing the range of definable, or even of mundane, emotion. 401 to 418. Nor does this impression seem referable to any purely subjective element in composer or auditor. 419 to 430. It may rather be conceived as the necessary result of the position of music as a representative of the laws and emotions of a supersensual world. 431 to 446. Such love, moreover, as can be experienced on earth, is felt at its highest moments to be only an earnest of what may exist elsewhere. 447 to 458. Nay, even if already felt as complete and satisfying, it must not limit its outlook to this life alone. 459 to 470. Yet, on the other hand, the love felt on earth is truly sacred and permanent, and as we may believe, will never be forgotten by the soul at any stage of advance. 471 to 498. Finally, it is by maintaining life and love at a high degree of energy that we may hope to penetrate ever nearer to the central and divine life. 499 to 518. And in the profound peace which even on earth may accompany this sense of progressive union with the divine, all personal fear and sorrow, nay, even the anguish of desolating bereavement, may disappear in a childlike faith. 519 to 548. Ah, could the soul, from all earth's love set free, plunge once for all and sink them in the sea, then naked thence, re-risen and reborn, shine in the gold of some tempestuous morn, with one at last to lead her, one to say, Come hither, hither is thy warlike way, O that airs deep were thronged from heaven to hell, with shadowy shapes of bark and caravel, on rays of sunset and on storms that roll, swept to a last Trafalgar of the soul. Ah me, how oft have such wild words confessed the impetuous urgence of a fierce unrest, when o'er the embracing earth, the enarching blue, seemed these souls caged no wings might battle through, and faith was dumb, were all her voices vain, against the incumbent night, the baffling pain, dumb till some mastering call, with broadened scope, should bring the evangel of authentic hope, show thee strong soul, aroused, alive, afar, from death's pale peace delivered into war, bid life live on, nor love disdain to sing, mid fading boughs his anthems of the spring. Nathless my soul, if thou perchance hast heard, I say not whence, some clear disposing word, if on thy gaze has hoped, I say not where, brighter than day the light that was thy prayer. Thereon keep silence, who of men will heed that secret which to thee is life indeed? For if thou sing of woes and wandering, then plain tale is thine, and words well known to men. But if of hope and peace, then each alone must find that peace by pathways of his own. Yet many are there who some glimpse have seen from this world's cave of waters wide and green, who have striven as strive they might, and found their rest, each in such faith as for each soul is best. To such thy message lies, nor needs inquire what path has led them there where they desire. If in sweet trance it hath to some been given to stand unharmed in the outmost porch of heaven, to have seen the flamy spires of mounting prayer, crowns of election hanging in the air, and guardian souls, and whatso waits to bless man all unknowing in his loneliness, where if the Father for their need have sent no separate call nor strange admonishment, only such hopes as in the spirit spring, with a new calm that brooks not questioning, such loves as lift the ennobled life away from earth and baseness through their native day, such faith as shines far off and undefiled, guessed in the glad eyes of a stainless child. For such as these find thou, my heart, a voice, but souls rejoicing gravely to rejoice, for souls at peace obscurely to express gleams of the light which cheers their steadfastness. Ah me, how oft shall morn's pellucid ray stir thee, high heart, for the unknown wondrous way? How oft shall evening's slant and crimson fire immix the earthly and divine desire? What yearning falls from twilight's shadowy dome for the unchanged city and the abiding home? Yet chiefliest when alone the watcher sees through the clear void the sparkling Pleiades, or marks from the underworld Orion bring his arms all gold, and night encompassing with night's cold scent upon his soul is borne, firewise a mystic longing and forlorn, to strike one stroke and in a moment know those hanging Pleiades, why they cluster so, through night to God to feel his flight begun, and see this sun a star, that star a sun. How might one watch the enwoven battalion sweep, a dance of atoms drifting in the deep? Ah, to what goal, firm fixed or flying far, drives yon unhurrying, undelaying star? Through space, if space it be, past count or ken, through time, if that be time, not mart of men. From what beginning, what fire fountain hurled, burst the bright streams, and every spark a world? And yet methinks men still to be might learn whatever eye can fathom, sense discern, might note the ether's whirl, the atom's play, the thousand secrets thronging on the ray, till for that knowledge's sake they scarce could bear veilless the tingling incidents of air, and yet no nigher for all their wisdom grew to the old world's life and pulse that beats therethrough, while round them still, with every hour that rolls, swept some unnoted populace of souls, undreamt of lay, as ere earth's life began, the open secret in the end of man. O living love, that art all lives in one, soul of all suns, and of all souls the sun, earth, that to chosen eyes canst still display the untarnished glory of thy primal day, blue deep of heaven, for purged sight opening far, beyond the extreme abysm and smallest star. By subtler sense must those that know thee know, thy secret enters with a larger flow. On her own deeps must these souls gaze begin, and her whole cosmos lighten from within, showing what once hath been, what aye must be, her cause at once and end, her source and sea. Felt deeplier still, as still she soars the higher, her inmost being, her unfulfilled desire. Ah, dreamers, some will say, whose wildered ken shapes in the mist a hope denied to men. Too happy, hard to find and hard to keep, such mythic haven in the guideless deep, ye think ye find, and men there are who thus themselves the enchanted isle of Procetus have seen from Tenerife. To them was known the eastward shadow of its phantasmal cone, and the blue promontory and vale that fills the inner space of visionary hills. They saw them plain, yet all the while they wist that San Perondon is but of the mist, and such bold sailors as have thither pressed come bootless back from the unrewarding quest. Or if, they say, they touch it, they are driven far forth by all the angered winds of heaven, and nevermore win thither, nevermore tread with firm feet that legendary shore, retrack the confluent billows, or survey from poop or prow the innavigable way. Must then all quests be naught, all voyage vain, all hopes the illusion of the whirling brain? Or are there eyes beyond earth's veil that see dreamers made strong to dream what is to be. How should such prophet answer that his faith were in firm land, and not a floating wraith? What skill should judge him? Who to each assign the secret calling and the sight divine? Say, by what grace was to Columbus given to have pierced the unanswering verge of seas and heaven, to have wrung from winds that screamed and storms that fled their wilder voice than voices of the dead, left thee dear isles by zephyr overblown, Hiero's haven and Tades' towering cone, and forth, with all airs willing and all ways new, sailed till the blue peak melted in the blue. And these two, these whose visionary gaze haunts not those weltering crimson waterways, whose dream is not of summer and shining seas, and the east, and lost Atlantides, who are set wholly and of one will to win kingdoms the spirit knows but from within, whose eyes discern that glory glimmering through the old earth and heavens that scarcely veil the new. Let them say plainly, nay, we know not well what words shall prove the tale we have to tell. Either we cannot or we hardly dare breathe forth that vision into earthly air. And if ye call us dreamers, dreamers then be we esteemed amid you waking men. Hear us or hear not as ye choose, but we speak as we can, and are what we must be. Nor much, in very sooth, shall these men need the world's applausive smile, her answering meed, whose impulse was not of themselves, nor came, but Phoebus' call and whispering touch of fame, but for no worth of theirs, and past their will, fell like the lightning on the naked hill. To them the aspects of the heavens recall those strange and hurrying hours that were their all. For to one heart her bliss came unaware, under white cloudlets in a morning air. Another mid the thundering tempest knew peace, and a wind that where it listed blew, and oped the heaven of heavens one soul before, in life's mid-crash and London's whirling roar. Aye, and transfigured in the dream divine, the thronged precinct of park and serpentine, till horse and rider were as shades that rode from an unknown to an unknown abode, and that grey mere and mist that clung and curled lay like a water of the spirit world, where long will one in a great garden stray through sunlit hours of visionary day, till in himself his spirit deepening var the things that are not be the things that are, and all the scarlet flowers and tossing green seem the bright ghosts of what elsewhere hath been, and the sun's gold phantasmal, I and he, a slumbering phantom who has yet to be, where one from Plato's page uplifts his head, dazed in that mastering parley of the dead, till at dark curfew through the latticed gloom, what presence feels he in his lonely room, where mid the writ words of the wise he stands, like a strange ghost in many peopled lands, where issuing in some columned cloister sees through the barred squares the moon enchanted trees, till, when his slow resounding steps have made one silence with their echoes and the shade, how can he tell if for the first time then he paces thus those haunts of musing men, where once already, or often long ago, in other lives he hath known them and shall know, and reincarnate, unremembering, tread in the old same footsteps of himself long dead? Aye, yet maybe must many an age have passed ere on this old earth thou have looked thy last. Oft shall again thy child eyes opening see a strange scene brought by flashes back to thee. Full oft youth's fire shall leap thy veins within, and many a passion stir thee, many a sin, and many a spirit as yet unborn entwine love unimagined with new lives of thine, ere yet thou pass, with thy last form's last breath, through some irremeable gate of death, and earth with all her life, with all her lore, whirl on of the unseen forevermore. Ah, welcome then that hour which bids thee lie in anguish of thy last infirmity. Welcome the toss for ease, the gasp for air, the visage drawn, and Hippocratic stare. Welcome the darkening dream, the lost control, the sleep, the swoon, the arousal of the soul. Stayed on such hope, what hinders thee to live, meanwhile as they that less receive than give? Short time thou tarriest, wherefore shouldst thou then envy, or fear, or vex thyself with men? Only care thou that strong thy life and free, Inward and onward sweep into the sea, that mid earth's dizzying pains thou quit thee well, whose worst is now, nor waits a darker hell. So round his path their lair those centaurs made, harpies and gorgons, and a threefold shade. Yet strove the Trojan on, nor cared to stay, for shapes phantasmal flown about his way. But with sword sheathed in scorn, and heart possessed, with the one following of the one behest, beheld at last that folk Elysian, where their own sun gilds their own profounder air. Found thee wise, sire, and in the secret vale heard and returned an unambiguous tale. Or so this ancient stream through London flows, her tumult round him gathering as he goes. All day he bears the traffic, hears the strife, reflects the pageant of that changeful life. Then day declines, men's hurrying deeds are done, falls the deep night, and all their fates are won. Their hopes, their fears, a truce imperious keep. Sorrows and joys are stilled at last to sleep. From dark to dark the dim-lit river rolls, a silent highway through that place of souls, as if he only of all their myriads knew what sea unseen all streams are traveling to. An unspurled eddy and silent onset bear that city's being between a dream and prayer. Aye, thou shalt mourn, my friend, yet not as when thou hadst fain been blotted from the roll of men. Fain that what night begat thee and what day bare might sweep to nothing in the abyss of air, and the earth engulf and the ocean overflow life's stinging shame, the wildness of thy woe. For now thine anguish suddenly off shall cease, caught in the flow of thy perpetual peace, nor aught shall greatly trouble or long dismay thy soul forth faring through the inward day, strong in that sight and fashioned to sustain gladly the purging sacrament of pain. Aye, to thank God, who in his heightening plan hath chosen to show thee the full fate of man, who not in peace alone hath bid thee go, but through gross darkness and a wildering woe. With all his storms hath vexed thee, and oppressed with wild despair thy lonely and laboring breast, till there hath somewhat grown in thee so strong, that neither force nor fear nor woe nor wrong can check that inward onset, or can still thy heart's bold hope, thy soaring flame of will, since thou hast guessed that on thy side have striven a host unknown and hierarchs of heaven. With whom shalt thou, in lands unseen afar, renew thy youth and go again to war? Aye, when earth's folk are dust, earth's voices dumb, from world to world shalt strive and overcome. Say, could aught else content thee? Which were best, after so brief a battle and endless rest? Or the ancient conflict rather to renew, by the old deeds strengthened mightier deeds to do, till all thou art, nay all thou hast dreamed to be, proves thy mere root or embryon germ of thee, wherefrom thy great life passionately springs, rocked by strange blasts and stormy tempestings, yet still from shock and storm more steadfast grown, more one with other souls, yet more thine own. Nay, through those sufferings cold, and chosen then, a very demiurge of unborn men, a very Saviour, bending half divine, to souls who feel such woes as once were thine. For these, perchance, some utmost fear to brave, teach with thy truth, and with thy sorrow save. That hour may come when earth no more can keep tireless her year-long voyage through the deep. Nay, when all planets, sucked and swept in one, feed their rekindled solitary sun. Nay, when all suns that shine, together hurled, crash in one infinite and lifeless world. Yet hold thou still, what world soe'er may roll, not bear they with them master of the soul. In all the eternal whirl, the cosmic stir, all the eternal is akin to her. She shall endure, and quicken, and live at last, when all save souls has perished in the past. And wouldst thou still thy hope's immenseness shun? Shield from the storm thy soul's course scarce begun. These shattering blows she shall not curse but bless. How were she straitened with one pain the less? Ah, try her powers! Let many a heat distill her lucid essence from the insurgent ill. O roughly, strongly work her bold increase. Leave her not stagnant in a painless peace, nor let her, lulled in how so heavenly air, fold her brave pinions and forget to dare. So thrives not love, nor his great glorious shed on thornless summers and a rosy bed, nor oft mid all things fair and full content soars he to rapture, blooms to ravishment. But even as beauty is no vain image wrought by man's mere senses or adventurous thought, but founts austere maintain her lovesome youth, and beauty is the splendid bloom of truth. So love is virtue's splendor, flame that starts from these struck anvil of impassioned hearts, who though sometimes their paradisal care be but to till life's field and leave it fair, for some sweet years charged only to prolong their lives' decline and new lives clear of wrong. Yet oftener these by sterner lessons taught shall know the hours when love is all or naught, when strong pains borne together and high deeds done, aye, sundering death by severance welds in one. Thus be all life thy lesson, raised the higher by whatsoe'er men scorn or men desire. If lives untuned raise round thee a jarring voice, grieve thou for these, but for thyself rejoice. Since fed by each strife won, each strenuous hour, the strong soul grows, her patience ends in power, and from the lowliest vale is lightly flown, as from a mount she soars and is alone. Or thou, if all the arts their wealth have blent, to fashion some still home magnificent, wherein at eve thine heart is snared and tame, with lily odors and a glancing flame, while sighs half heard of women and dim things fair make thee dust magical and charm the air. If in that languorous calm thine ardors fade, and half allured thy soul is half betrayed, yet with one thought shalt thou again be free, wrapped in pure peace and inward ecstasy, since art and gold are but the shine and show of that true beauty which thy soul shall know. Aye, these things and things better shall she create of her own substance in her glorious state, when the unseen hope its visible end shall win, and her best house be builded from within. For art, the more she quickens, still the more must stretch her fair hands to the further shore, clearlier through fading images descry her fadeless home and truth and fantasy. Say, hast thou so known art, hast felt her power leap in an instant, vanish in an hour, marked in her eyes those gleams auroral play, mixed with this loomer of the worldly day? Times have there been when all thy joys were not to thee far following of a tameless thought, when even the solid earth's foundation strong seemed but the fabric and the food of song. In what world wert thou then? What spirit heard that mounting cry which died upon a word? Whence to thy soul that urgent answer came, force none of thine, and high hopes crowned with flame, which from thy lips fell slow, and lost the while their mystic radiance, momentary smile? Yea, and unseen things round the painter stand, more than his eye directs the master hand. Dimly and bright, with rapture mixed and pain, the heavenly image burns upon his brain, and many guessed it, but to one alone God's house was open and his household known, because the Lord had shown it him and set such vision in the heart of Tintoret, that to his burning, hurrying brush was given sphere beyond sphere, the infinite of heaven. From light to light his leaping spirit flew, the heaven of heavens was round him as he drew, till clear, obscure, in eddying circles lay the golden folk, the inhabitants of day. Crowd all his walls, through all his canvas throng, those eyes enraptured in a silent song, hands of appeal, and starry brows that tell a yearning joy, a wish inaudible. So mounts the soul, so for her, mounting higher, is fresh apocalypse, a fresh desire. Vision is mystery, and truth must still by riddles teach, and as she fails fulfill. And music, hast thou felt the house aware? Her mastering preludes march upon the air, with whatso gladness her full stream she flings, tumultuous through the swirl of tarrying things. Though she awhile, when the airy notes have flown, encompass all men's passion in her own, till ye who know what thing love is can see his wings in the air vibrate enchantingly. Yet oftener, strangelier, are her accents set toward hopes unfathomed through an unknown regret. Ah, listen, tremble, for no earthly fate knocks in that occult summons at the gate. Hark! For that wild appeal, that fierce acclaim. Cry to no earthly love, but earthly flame.
The august consent its joyance whirls away from thy soul's compass through the ideal day.
The lovely uplifted voice of girl or boy stirs thee full heart with something strange to joy. Then hast thou thought that still the Thracian sent through all the chords his infinite lament, because himself, the minstrel sire of song, had loved so passionately, mourned so long, and taught his 7 sweet strings a sighing tone, and made their wail the answer of his own? Or must thou deem 'twas but some past of thine, confused the stream of music's cry divine, because her entering Orphic touch revealed shrines ruined now, bride chambers shut and sealed, and thrilling through thee a gleam unwonted shed on loves long lost and days immortal dead? Not so, but music is a creature bound, a voice not ours, the imprisoned soul of sound, who fain would bend down hither and find her part in the strong passion of a hero's heart, where one great hour constrains herself to sing pastoral peace in waters wandering. Then hark how on a chord she is wrapped and flown to that true world thou seest not nor hast known, nor speech of thine can her strange thought unfold, the bars wild beat and ripple of running gold, since needs must she the unending story tell of such sweet mates as with her forever dwell, of very truth and beauty sole and fair, and wisdom made the son of all that err, where now thou art not, but shalt be soon, and thus scale her high home and find her glorious. And love, thine heart imagined, it may be, himself the immortal here had lodged with thee. Thou hadst clomb the heaven and caught him in the air, and clasped him close and felt that he was fair. He hath but shown thee, when thou calledst him sweet, his eyes' first glance and shimmer of flying feet. He hath but spoken, on his ascending way, one least word of the words he hath yet to say, who in the true world his true home has made, with fair things first begotten and undecayed, whereof thou too art, whither thou too shalt go, live what love's self, and what love knows shalt know. Ah, sweet division, excellent debate, between this flesh and that celestial state, when love, long prayed, hath wrought thee now, and here, peace in some heart so innocently dear, that thought of more than what before thee lies seems a mere scorn of present paradise, while yet love rests not so, nor bates his breath, to name the stingless names of eld and death, knowing, through change without thee and within, his force must grow and his great years begin, knowing himself the mightiest, death the call to his high realm and house primordial. Ah, may the heart grow ever, yet retain all she hath once acquired of glorious gain. May all in freshness in her deeps endure, which once hath entered in of high and pure. Nor these sweet presents dearness wear away the grace and power of the old God-given day. Nay, as some world-wide race count most divine, of all their temples one first lowly shrine, whereat the vow was pledged, the onset sworn, which swept their standards deep into the morn. So, howsoe'er thy soul's fate bear her far, through counterchanging heaven and avatar, still shall her gaze that earliest scene survey, where eyes heroic taught the heavenly way, where hearts grew firm to hold the august desire, though sea with sky, though earth were mixed with fire, where o'er themselves they seized the high control, each at the calling of the comrade soul. Aye, in God's presence set them, let them see the lifting veil of the inmost mystery. Even then shall they remember, even so shall the old thoughts rise, and the old love's fountain flow. Ah, fate, what home soe'er be mine at last, save me some look, some image of the past. Or deep blue mirrors be dark cloud shadows driven, veil and unveil a storm-swept sun in heaven. Cold gusts of raining summer bring me still, dream-wise the wet scent of the ferny hill. Live then in love, through life, through love is one, all thy fair future shall have dared and done, whate'er the aeons unimagined keep, stored for thy trial in the viewless deep. Though thy sad past should lead thee unafraid, lonely through age-long avenues of shade, Though in strange worlds, on many a ghostly morn, thy soul dishomed shall shudder and be forlorn, yet with thee still the world's soul's onset goes. Wind of the spirit on all those waters blows. Still in all lives a presence inlier known is light and truth in all men's and thine own. Still o'er thy hid soul, brooding as a dove, with love alone redeems the wounds of love. Still amid the wildering war, the eternal strife, bears for life's ills the healing gift of life. Live thou in love, so best and only so can thy one soul into the one soul flow. Can thy small life to life's great centre flee, and thou be nothing, and the Lord in thee. And therefore whoso reaches, whoso knows this ardent peace, this passionate repose, and whomsoe'er from thee heart forth shall swell the indwelling tide, the inborn Emmanuel. Their peace no kings, no warring worlds destroy, no strangers intermeddle and mar their joy. These lives can neither Alp on Alp upborne hurl from the glooming o'er the thundering horn, nor Nile, uprisen with all his waters, stay their march aerial and irradiant way. Who are in God's hand, and round about them thrown the light invisible of a land unknown. Who are in God's hand, in quietness can wait age, pain, and death, and all that men call fate. What matter if thou hold thy loved ones pressed, still with close arms upon thy yearning breast, or with purged eyes behold them hand in hand, come in a vision from that lovely land, or only with great heart and spirit sure, deserve them and await them and endure, knowing well, no shocks that fall, no years that flee, can sunder God from these, or God from thee. No wise so far thy love from theirs can roam, as past the mansions of his endless home. Hereat, my soul, go softly, not for long, runs thy still hour from prime till evensong. Come shine or storm, rejoice thee or endure, set is thy course and all thy haven is sure. Nor guide be thine through halcyon seas or wild, save thee child's heart, and trust as of the child. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Scar by Robert Underwood Johnson. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. But one the Scar had ever seen. Some said 'twas got in valiant fight with foe too strong. Some hinted flight, and wondered where the scratch had been, and marvelled he survived its might. Month upon month, and year on year passed, and his dumb lips gave no sign. But men remarked, like some rare wine, the smile that brought to joy new cheer, and gave to grief an anodyne. While he lay dead, there drew apart two, whispering. Then their courage found, they tore aside the band that bound. A third, with woman's gentle art, hid with her hair his open wound. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sea Fever by John Masefield. Read for LibriVox.org by Brian Gallegos. Taco Brian. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea in the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. And the wheels kick, and the wind's song, and the white sails shaking, and a gray mist on the sea's face, and a gray dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day, with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray, and the blown spume, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife, And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Should We Forget by John G. Nyhart. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. I wonder if the skies would be so blue, or grass so kindly green as 'twas of old, or would there be such freshness in the dew when purple mornings blossom into gold? I wonder, would the sudden song of birds thrilling the storm-hushed forest, dripping wet, after a June shower, be as idle words, should we forget? I wonder if we'd feel the charm of night, divinely lonesome with the glow of moons, or would we prize the intermittent light, burning the zenith with its transient noons? I wonder if the twilight could avail to charm us, as of old when suns had set, if all these many dream-sweet days should fail, and we forget. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song by Christina G. Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. O roses for the flush of youth, and laurel for the perfect prime, but pluck an ivy branch for me, grown old before my time. O violets for the grave of youth, and bay for those dead in their prime. Give me the withered leaves I choose, before in the old time. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song of the Seasons by Cosmo Monkhouse. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Scher. Sing a song of springtime. The world is going round, blown by the south wind. Listen to its sound. Gurgle goes the mill wheel, cluck clucks the hen, and it's oh for a pretty girl to kiss in the glen. Sing a song of summer. The world is nearly still. The mill pond has gone to sleep, and so has the mill. Shall we go a-sailing, or shall we take a ride, or dream the afternoon away, here, side by side? Sing a song of autumn. The world is going back. They glean in the cornfield, and stamp on the stack. Our boy, Charlie, tall, strong and light, he shoots all the day, and dances all the night. Sing a song of winter. The world stops dead. Under snowy coverlid, flowers lie abed. There's hunting for the young ones, and wine for the old, and a sexton in the churchyard, digging in the cold. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnets by George Santayana. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. April 14, 2025. Sonnets, 1895. 21. Among the myriad voices of the spring, what were the voice of my supreme desire? What were my cry amid the vernal choir, or my complaint before the gods that sing? O too late love, O flight on wounded wing, infinite hope my lips should not suspire. Why, when the world is thine, my grief require, or mock my dear-bought patience with thy sting? Though I be mute, the birds will in the boughs sing as in every April they have sung, and though I die, the incense of heart vows will float to heaven as when I was young. But, O ye beauties I must never see, how great a lover have you lost in me. 22. 'Tis love that moveth these celestial spheres, an endless yearning for the changeless one, and these stars sing together as they run to number the innumerable years. 'Tis love that lifteth through their dewy tears the rose's beauty to the heedless sun, and with no hope nor any guerdon won, love leads me on, nor end of love appears. For the same breath that did awake the flowers, making them happy with a joy unknown, kindled my light and fixed my spirit's goal. And the same hand that reined the flying hours, and chained the whirling earth to Phoebus' throne, in love's eternal orbit keeps the soul. 23. But is this love that in my hollow breast gnaws like a silent poison till I faint? Is this the vision that the haggard saint fed with his vigils till he found his rest? Is this the hope that piloted thy quest, Knight of the Grail, and kept thy heart from taint? Is this the heaven, poets, that ye paint? Oh, then, how like damnation to be blessed! This is not love, it is that worser thing, hunger for love, while love is yet to learn. Thy peace is gone, my soul, thou long must yearn. Long is thy winter's pilgrimage, till spring, and late homecoming, long ere thou return, to where the seraphs covet not and burn. 24. Although I decked a chamber for my bride, and found a moonlit garden for the tryst, wherein all flowers looked happy as we kissed, hath the deep heart of me been satisfied? The chasm twixt our spirits yawns as wide, though our lips meet and clasply as I list, the something perfect that I love is missed, and my warm worship freezes into pride. But why, O waywardness of nature, why seek farther in the world? I had my choice, and we said we were happy, you and I. Why in the forest should I hear a cry, or in the sea an unavailing voice, or feel a pain to look upon the sky? 25. As in the midst of battle there is room for thoughts of love, and in foul sin for mirth, as gossips whisper of a trinket's worth, spied by the deathbed's flickering candle gloom. As in the crevices of Caesar's tomb, the sweet herbs flourish on a little earth, so in this great disaster of our birth, we can be happy and forget our doom. For morning, with a ray of tenderest joy, gilding the iron heaven, hides the truth, and evening gently woos us to employ our grief in idle catches, such as youth, till from that summer's trance we wake to find despair before us, vanity behind. 26. Oh, if the heavy last unuttered groan that lieth here could issue to the air, then might God's peace descend on my despair, and seal this heart as with a mighty stone. For what sin, heaven, must I thus atone? Was it a sin to love what seemed so fair? If thou deny me hope, why give me care? I have not lived, and die alone, alone. This is not new. Many have perished so. Long years of nothing, with some days of grief, made their sad life. Their own hands sought relief, too late to find it, impotently slow. I know, strong fate, the trodden way I go. Joy lies behind me, be the journey brief. 27. Sleep hath composed the anguish of my brain, and ere the dawn I will arise and pray. Strengthen me, heaven, and attune my lay unto my better angel's clear refrain. For I can hear him in the night again, the breathless night, snow-smothered, happy, grey, with premonition of the jocund day, singing a quiet carol to my pain. Slowly, saith he, the April buds are growing, in the chill core of twigs all leafless now, gently, beneath the weight of last night's snowing, patient of winter's hand, the branches bow. Each buried seed lacks light as much as thou. Wait for the spring, brave heart, there is no knowing. 28. Out of the dust the queen of roses springs, the brackish depths of thee blown waters bear blossoms of foam, the common mist and air weave vesper's holy, pity-laden wings. So from sad, mortal, and unhallowed things But stars that in their crowns the angels wear, and worship of the infinitely fair, flows from thine eyes, as wise Petrarca sings. Hence comes the understanding of love's scope, that, seeking thee, to perfect good aspires, accounting little what all flesh desires, and hence the spirit's happy pinions ope, in flight impetuous to the heavens' choirs, wherefore I walk already proud in hope. 29. What riches have you that you deem me poor? Or what large comfort that you call me sad? Tell me what makes you so exceeding glad. Is your earth happy or your heaven sure? I hope for heaven, since the stars endure, and bring such tidings as our fathers had. I know no deeper doubt to make me mad. I need no brighter love to keep me pure. To me the fates of old are daily bread. I bless their hope, I bless their will to save. And my deep heart still meaneth what they said. It makes me happy that the soul is brave, and, being so much kinsman to the dead, I walk contented to the peopled grave. 30. Let my lips touch thy lips, and my desire contagious fever be, to set aglow the blood beneath thy whiter breast than snow. Wonderful snow that so can kindle fire. Abandon to what gods in us conspire thy little wisdom, sweetest, for they know. Is it not something that I love thee so? Take that from life, ere death thine all acquire. But no, then would a mortal warmth disperse that beauteous snow to water drops, which, turned to marble, had escaped the primal curse. Be still a goddess, till my heart have burned its sacrifice before thee, and my verse told this late world the love that I have learned. 31. A brother's love, but that I chose thee out from all the world, not by the chance of birth, but in the risen splendor of thy worth, which like the sun put all my stars to rout. A lover's love, but that it bred no doubt of love returned, no heats of flood and dearth, but, asking nothing, found in all the earth the consolation of a heart devout. A votary's love, though with no pale and wild imaginations did I stretch the might of a sweet friendship and immortal light. Thus in my love all loves are reconciled, let purest be, and in my prayer the right of brother, lover, friend, and eremite. 32. Let not thy bosom, to my foes allied, insult my sorrow with this coat of mail, when for thy strong defense, if love assail, thou hast the world, thy virtue, and my pride. But if thine own dear eyes I see beside, sharpened against me, then my strength will fail. Abandoning sail and rudder to the gale, for thy sweet sake alone so long defied. If I am poor, in death how rich and brave will seem my spirit with the love it gave. If I am sad, I shall seem happy then. Be mine in God and in the grave, since naught but chance in the insensate wave divides us in the wagging tongue of men. 33. A perfect love is nourished by despair. I am thy pupil in the school of pain. Mine eyes will not reproach thee for disdain, but thank thy rich disdain for being fair. I, the proud sorrow, the eternal prayer, thy beauty taught, what shall unteach again? Hid from my sight, thou livest in my brain. Fled from my bosom, thou abidest there. And though they buried thee, and called thee dead, and told me I should never see thee more, the violets that grew above thy head would waft thy breath and tell thy sweetness o'er, and every rose thy scattered ashes bred would to my sense thy loveliness restore. 34. Though destiny half broke her cruel bars, herself contriving we should meet on earth, and with thy beauty fed my spirit's dearth, and turned to love the age's many jars, yet there is potency in natal stars, and we were far divided in our birth by nature's gifts and half the planet's girth, in speech and faith and blood and ancient wars. Alas, thy very radiance made division. Thy youth, thy friends, and all men's eyes that wooed, thy simple kindness came as in derision of so much love and so much solitude. Or did the good gods order all to show how far the single strength of love can go? 35. we needs must be divided in the tomb. For I would die among the hills of Spain, and o'er the treeless melancholy plain await the coming of the final gloom. But thou, O pitiful, wilt find scant room among thy kindred by the northern main, and fade into the drifting mist again, the hemlock shadow or the pine's perfume. Let gallants lie beside their lady's dust in one cold grave, with mortal love inurned. Let these sea part our ashes, if it must. The souls fled thence which love immortal burned, for they were wedded without bond of lust, and nothing of our heart to earth returns. 36. We were together, and I long to tell how drop by silent drop my bosom bled. I took some verses full of you and read, waiting for God to work some miracle. They told how love had plunged in burning hell, one half my soul, while the other half had fled upon love's wings to heaven, and you said, I like the verses, they are written well. If I had knelt confessing, it is you, you are my torment and my rapture too. I should have seen you rise in flushed disdain, for shame to say so, be it false or true. And the sharp sword that ran me through and through, on your white bosom too had left a stain. 37. And I was silent, now you do not know, but read these very words with vacant eyes, and as you turn the page, peruse the skies, and I go by you as a cloud might go. You are not cruel, though you dealt the blow, and I am happy, though I miss the prize. For when God tells you, you will not despise the love I bore you, it is better so. My soul is just, and thine without a stain. Why should not life divide us, whose division is frail and passing, as its union vain? All things neath other planets will grow plain, when, as we wander through the fields Elysian, eternal echoes haunt us of this pain. 38. Oh, not for me, for thee, dear God, her head shines with this perfect golden aureole. For thee this sweetness doth possess her soul, and to thy chambers are her footsteps led. The light will live that on my path she shed, while any pilgrim yet hath any goal, and heavenly musicians from their scroll will sing all her sweet words when I am dead, and her unspotted heart is steadfast faith, fed on high thoughts, and in her beauteous face the fountain of the love that conquers death. And as I see her in her kneeling place, a Gabriel comes, and with inaudible breath whispers within me, Hail, thou full of grace. 39. The world will say, what mystic love is this? What ghostly mistress? What angelic friend? Read, masters, your own passion to the end, and tell me then if I have writ amiss. When all loves die that hang upon a kiss, and must but cavil and with chance contend, their risen selves with the eternal blend, where perfect dying is their perfect bliss. And might I kiss her once, asleep or dead, upon the forehead or the globed eyes, or where the gold is parted on her head, that kiss would help me on to paradise, as if I kissed the consecrated bread in which the buried soul of Jesus lies. 40. If, when the story of my love is old, this book should live in lovers' leisure feed, fair charactered, for bluest eye to read, and richly bound, for whitest hand to hold, oh, limn me then this lovely head in gold, and limner these soft lips and lashes heed, and set her in the midst, my love indeed, the sweet eyes tender, and the broad brow cold, and never let thy colours think to cast a brighter splendor on her beauties past, or venture to disguise a fancied flaw. Let not thy painting falsify my rhyme, but perfect keep the mold for after time, and let the whole world see her as I saw. 41. Yet why, of one who loved thee not, command thy counterfeit for other men to see, when God himself did on my heart for me, thy face, like Christ's upon the napkin, brand? Oh, how much subtler than a painter's hand is love to render back the truth of thee! My soul should be thy glass in time to be, and in my thought thine effigy should stand. Yet lest the churlish critics of that age should flout my praise, and deem a lover's rage could gild a virtue and a grace exceed. I bid thine image here confront my page, that men may look upon thee as they read, and cry, such eyes a better poet need. 42. As when the scepter dangles from the hand of some king doting, faction runneth wild. Thieves shake their chains, and traitors, long exiled, hover about the confines of the land, till the young prince, anointed, takes command, full of high purpose, simple, trustful, mild, and, smitten by his radiance undefiled, the ruffians are abashed, the cowards stand. So in my kingdom riot and despair lived by thy lack, and called for thy control. But at thy coming all the world grew fair. Away before thy face the villain stole, and panoplied I rose to do and bear, when love his clarion sounded in my soul. 43. The candor of the gods is in thy gaze, the strength of Dian in thy virgin hand, commanding as the goddess might command, and lead her lovers into higher ways. Aye, the gods walk among us in these days, had we the docile soul to understand, and me they visit in this joyless land, to cheer mine exile and receive my praise. For once, methinks, before the angels fell, thou too didst follow the celestial seven, threading and file the meads of asphodel. And when thou comest, lady, where I dwell,
the place is flooded with the light of heaven, and a lost music I remember well.
44. For thee the sun doth daily rise and set behind the curtain of the hills of sleep, and my soul, passing through the nether deep, broods on thy love and never can forget. For thee the garlands of the wood are wet, for thee the daisies up the meadows sweep, stir in the sidelong light, and for thee weep the drooping ferns above the violet. For thee the labor of my studious ease I ply with hope, for thee all pleasures please. Thy sweetness doth the bread of sorrow leaven, and from thy noble lips and heart of gold I drink the comfort of the fates of old, and thy perfection is my proof of heaven. 45. Flower of the world, bright angel, single friend, I never asked of heaven thou shouldst love me, as well as heaven's self that spreads above me, with all his stars about my head to bend. It is enough my spirit may ascend, and clasp the good whence nothing can remove me. Enough, if faith and hope and love approve me, and make me worthy of the blessed end. And as a pilgrim from the path withdraws, seeing Christ carven on the holy rood, and breathes an Ave in the solitude, so will I stop and pray, for I have cause, and in all crossways of my thinking pause, before thine image, saying, God is good. 46. When I survey the harvest of the year, and from time's threshing garner up the grain, what profit have I of forgotten pain? What comfort, heart lot, for the winter's cheer? The season's yield is this, that thou art dear, and that I love thee, that is all my gain. The rest was chaff, blown from the weary brain, where now thy treasured image lieth clear. How liberal is beauty, that, but seen, makes rich the bosom of her silent lover. How excellent is truth, on which I lean, yet my religion were a charm to spare, did I not in thy perfect heart discover how beauty can be true and virtue fair. 47. Thou hast no name, or if a name thou bearest, to none it meaneth what it means to me. Thy form, thy loveliness the world can see, makes not the glory that to me thou wearest, nor thine unuttered thoughts, though they be fairest, and shaming all that in rude bosoms be, all they are but the thousandth part of thee, which thou with blessed spirits haply sharest. But incommunicable, peerless, dim, flooding my heart with anguish of despair, thou walkest, love, before me, shade of him, who only liveth, giveth, and is fair, and constant ever, though inconstant known. In all my loves I worship thee alone. 48. Of Helen's brothers, one was born to die, and one immortal, who, the fable saith, gave to the other that was nigh to death, one half his widowed immortality. They would have lived and died alternately, breathing each other's warm transmuted breath, had not high Zeus, who justly ordereth, made them twin stars to shine eternally. My heart was dying when thy flame of youth flooded its chambers through my gazing eyes. My life is now thy beauty and thy truth. Thou wouldst come down, forsaking paradise, to be my comfort, but by heaven's ruth I go to burn beside thee in the skies. 49. After grey vigils, sunshine in the heart. After long fasting on the journey, food. After sharp thirst, a draught of perfect good, to flood the soul and heal her ancient smart. Joy of my sorrow, never can we part. Thou broodest o'er me in the haunted wood, and with new music fill'st the solitude, by but so sweetly being what thou art. He who hath made thee perfect makes me blessed. O fiery minister, on mighty wings, bear me, great love, to mine eternal rest. Heaven it is to be at peace with things. Come chaos now, and in a whirlwind's rings, engulf the planets. I have seen the best. 50. Though utter death should swallow up my hope, and choke with dust the mouth of my desire, though no dawn burst, and no Aurorian choir sing Gloria Deo when the heavens ope, yet have I light of love, nor need to grope, lost, wholly lost, without an inward fire. The flame that quickeneth the world entire leaps in my breast, but cruel death to cope. Hath not the night environed earth her flowers? Hath not my grief the blessed joy of thee?
Is not the comfort of these singing hours, full of thy perfectness, enough for me?
They are not evil then, those hidden powers. One love sufficeth in eternity. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Spider and the Fly by Mary Howard. Read for LibriVox.org by edenwillow in Auckland, New Zealand. May 2025. Will you walk into my parlour? Said the Spider to the Fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlour that ever you did spy. The way into my parlour is up a winding stair, and I've many a curious things to shew when you are there. Oh, no, no, said the little Fly, to ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the Spider to the Fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around, the sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Oh, no, no, said the little Fly, for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again, who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning Spider to the Fly, Dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Oh, no, no, said the little Fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the Spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings, how brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking-glass upon my parlour shelf. If you'll step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you're pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now, I'll call another day. The Spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly Fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the Fly. Then he came out to his door again, and merrily did sing, Come hither, hither, pretty Fly, with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead. Alas, how very soon the silly little Fly, hearing his wily fluttering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing! At last up jumped the cunning spider, and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den, within his little parlour, but she ne'er came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly, fluttering words I pray you never give heed. Unto an evil counsellor close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Spring by Christiana Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Frost-locked all the winter, seeds and roots and stones of fruits, what shall make their sap ascend, that they may put forth shoots? Tips of tender green, leaf or blade or sheath, telling of the hidden life that breaks forth underneath, life nursed in its grave by death. Blows the thaw-wind pleasantly, drips the soaking rain, by fits looks down the waking sun, young grass springs on the plain, young leaves clothe early hedgerow trees, seeds and roots and stones of fruits, swollen with sap, put forth their shoots. Curled-headed ferns sprout in the lane, birds sing and pair again. There is no time like spring, when life's alive in everything, before new nestlings sing, before cleft swallows speed their journey back along the trackless track. God guides their wing, he spreads their table that they nothing lack, before the daisy grows a common flower, before the sun has power to scorch the world up in his noontide hour. There is no time like spring that passes by. There is no life like spring life, born to die, piercing the sod, clothing the uncouth clod, hatched in the nest, fledged on the windy bough, strong on the wing. There is no time like spring that passes by, now newly born, and now hastening to die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Spring Song by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Streb. A bluebell springs upon the ledge, a lark sits singing in the hedge. Sweet perfume scent the balmy air, and life is brimming everywhere. What lark and breeze and bluebirds sing is spring, spring, spring. No more the air is sharp and cold, the planter wends across the wold, and glad beneath the shining sky, we wander forth, my love and I, and ever in our hearts doth ring this song of spring, spring. For life is life, and love is love, 'twixt maid and man, or dove and dove. Life may be short, life may be long, but love will come, and to its song shall this refrain forever cling of spring, spring, spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Suicide in the Trenches by Siegfried Sassoon. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. I knew a simple soldier boy who grinned at life in empty joy, slept soundly through the lonesome dark, and whistled early with the lark. In winter trenches cowed and glum, with crumps and lice and lack of rum, he put a bullet through his brain. No one spoke of him again. You smug-faced crowds with kindling eye, who cheer when soldier lads march by, sneak home and pray you'll never know the hell where youth and laughter go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Switzerland by Alfred Dennis Godley. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. In the steamy, stuffy Midlands, 'neath an English summer sky, when the holidays are nearing with the closing of July, and experienced alpine stagers and impetuous recruits are renewing with the season their continual disputes, those inveterate disputes on the newest alpine routes, and inspecting the condition of their mountaineering boots. You may stifle your reflections, you may banish them afar, you may try to draw solace from the thought of Nächstes Jahr, but your heart is with those climbers, and you'll feverishly yearn to be crossing of the Channel with your luggage labelled Bern, leaving England far astern with a ticket through to Bern, and regarding your profession with a lordly unconcern. They will lie beside the torrent just as you were wont to do, with the woodland green around them and a snowfield shining through. They will tread the higher pastures where celestial breezes blow, while the valley lies in shadow and the peaks are all aglow, where the airs of heaven blow 'twixt the pine woods and the snow, and the shades of evening deepen in the valley far below. They will scale the mountain strongholds that in days of old you won. They will plod behind a lantern ere the rising of the sun, on a grat or in a chimney, on the steep and dizzy slope. For a foothold or a handhold they will diligently grope, on the rocky icy slope where we'll charitably hope 'tis assistance only moral that they're getting from a rope. They will dine on mule and marmot, and on mutton made of goats. They will face the various horrors of Helvetian table d'hotes. But whate'er the paths that lead them, and the food whereon they fare, they will taste the joy of living as you only taste it there, as you taste it only there, in the higher, purer air, unapproachable by worries, and oblivious quite of care. Place me somewhere in the valley, mid the mountains west of Bin and east of Savoy, in a decent kind of inn, with a peak or two for climbing, and a glacier to explore. Any mountains will content me, though they've all been climbed before. Yes, I care not any more, though they've all been done before, and the names they keep in bottles may be numbered by the score. Though the hand of time be heavy, though your ancient comrades fail, though the mountains you ascended be accessible by rail, though your nerve begin to weaken, and your gouty grown and fat, and prefer to walk in places which are reasonably flat, though you grow so very fat that you climb the Gorner Grat, or perhaps the little Scheideck, and are rather proud of that, yet I hope that till you die you will annually sigh for a vision of the valley with the coming of July, for the Oberland or valley, and the higher, purer air, and the true delight of living as you taste it only there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Transplanted by Emily Dickinson. Read for LibriVox.org by Kyle. As if some little Arctic flower upon the polar hem went wandering down the latitudes until it puzzled came to continents of summer, to firmaments of sun, to strange bright crowds of flowers and birds of foreign tongue. I say, as if this little flower to Eden wandered in, what then? Why, nothing, only your inference therefrom. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Tuft of Flowers by Robert Frost. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. I went to turn the grass once after one who mowed it in the dew before the sun. The dew was gone that made his blade so keen before I came to view the leveled scene. I looked for him behind an aisle of trees. I listened for his whetstone on the breeze. But he had gone his way, the grass all mown, and I must be, as he had been, alone. As all must be, I said within my heart, whether they work together or apart. But as I said it, swift there passed me by, on noiseless wing, a wildered butterfly, seeking with memories grown dim o'er night some resting flower of yesterday's delight. And once I marked his flight go round and round, as where some flower lay withering on the ground, and then he flew as far as I could see, and then on tremulous wing came back to me. I thought of questions that have no reply, and would have turned to toss the grass to dry, but he turned first, and led my eye to look at a tall tuft of flowers beside a brook. A leaping tongue of bloom the scythe had spared, beside a reedy brook the scythe had bared. I left my place to know them by their name, finding them butterfly weed when I came. The mower in the dew had loved them thus, by leaving them to flourish, not for us, nor yet to draw one thought of ours to him, but from sheer morning gladness at the brim. The butterfly and I had lit upon, nevertheless, a message from the dawn that made me hear the wakening birds around, and hear his long scythe whispering to the ground, and feel a spirit kindred to my own, so that henceforth I worked no more alone, but glad with him I worked as with his aid, and weary sought at noon with him the shade, and dreaming, as it were, held brotherly speech with one whose thought I had not hoped to reach. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When You Go Away by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Theo Douglas. Seattle, Washington, May 2025. When you go away, my friend, when we say our last goodbye, then the summertime will end, and the winter will be nigh. Though the green grass decks the heather, and the birds sing all the day, there will be no summer weather after you have gone away. When I look into your eyes, I shall thrill with sharpest pain, thinking that beneath the skies I may never look again. You will feel a moment's sorrow. I shall feel a lasting grief, you forgetting on the morrow, I to mourn with no relief. When we say the last sad words, and you are no longer near, all the winds and all the birds cannot keep the summer here. Life will lose its full completeness, lose it, not for you, but me, all the beauty and the sweetness earth can hold, I shall not see. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.